When I set out to build a home for my axolotl, I wanted it to feel alive, not just a tank of water, but a little world of its own. A place where plants, rocks and life could balance together without a filter, without constant tinkering. Just nature running itself. We spent hours shaping it, placing each stem and stone until it felt just right. And as the day came to a close, the tank was cloudy, but it was full of potential. On day one, I started with a quick 10% water change to help the tank settle. After that, I welcomed in a cleanup crew, a small group of snails to balance the ecosystem from the start, and they wasted no time exploring the tank. By day 2, the water had finally cleared up, and with it came something unexpected. Tiny white creatures darting around, feeding on microscopic particles of algae wafers. By day 5, the scape was shifting, roots digging in, leaves sitting prouder, and I was finally able to remove the rocks that had been weighing the wood down. With everything settling into place, the ecosystem was finally becoming what I had in mind. By day 10, it looked complete. Plants thriving, water crystal clear, snails working quietly in the background. Honestly, I felt like we'd nailed it. I thought to myself, it's perfect. What could go wrong? But then came day 30. That's when we realised our huge mistake. Along came day 30. The tank looked great and everything seemed to be thriving. But I did some more research on the rocks I used, only to realise they were limestone. I quickly got out the test kit to see what was going on within the water. Unfortunately, my fears were confirmed, and the pH was way too toxic to support life. Alongside that, we had a build-up of sulfuric gases that weren't releasing correctly. So, I did what any sane man would do, and I started again. So with a clean slate, new supplies, and a new vision, I started laying in my sand, leaving out the toxic rocks and the soil that caused the complications prior. Although mistakes were made, this opens up an opportunity for us, an opportunity to improve the design. My axolot was really active, so I had to maximise her swimming space while also making sure she has enough cover and shade to keep her happy. My aim was to make it feel like a little grove, colourful, bright, but with plenty of shadows to balance the beauty with realistic lifestyle needs. I began by finding the main shapes and lines that would define the build, and finding the right height to lock in its dramatic yet natural tone. I used these root pieces of wood because I thought it would give her plenty of places to hide underneath, and could potentially grow some moss over the top to provide a greater canopy. I had to make sure that I had ample space to plant. If the layer of sand was too thin, I would have a really hard time just trying to plant anything. Breaking up rocks is vital for this build. What I had was way too big, and I needed to shape them into something much more fitting for the direction I wanted to take. I made sure to blunten any sharp edges and put the smaller fragments to one side for later detailing. Each stone has to be placed with thorough intention to avoid it looking out of place. In nature, things tend to slot into one another, often becoming one. So I did my best to replicate this in my design. I wanted to add a slope to either side of the tank to help it feel encapsulated. Not only does this go a long way when trying to achieve that grove feel, it also gives the wood something to cascade down, tying the whole piece together. So with the tank all filled up, all we have to do now is touch up some sand, place some more detail stones, and then prepare for putting the plants in. So the main feature for this tank is going to be the Dracaena diramensis, and I like to pair this with a Dracaena senderiana, if I'm saying that right. I think these give a nice wild look, whilst also giving enough foliage to make the tank feel full. Now typically these are more house plants, but you can get them from aquatic shops and you can convert them fairly easily. The diramensis on the other hand, you do need to make sure you keep that above the water. Next we have the Anubias nana. Now I think these are a perfect choice for when you're trying to add a little volume to the tank. I then added a small Nomophilia to the left side. These follow suit to the Anubias, which are great for filling in empty spaces and adding a lot of vibrancy. Next we're going to add in some Hygrophila. Now at the back we're going to start building a wall so we can't see through the tank. We need to make sure we leave a gap in the middle so it doesn't feel too busy. And then we're going to pair this up with some Ludwigia to fill it out a little bit more. This is going to create a natural path around the whole tank to give Rusty some room to move. Here I'm just using one more Dracaena to fill in a small gap. Now this is Liliopsis. If you've seen my videos before, you'll know that I love grass. So we're going to add a few splashes of grass here and there to fill in any gaps. Hopefully it will start growing outwards and fill in more of the tank. I had a couple bunches of Cryptocorin left over from a previous tank. These would be quite tall, so I just put them at the front right and the back left to add a little more texture. Seeing as though you made it this far already, you might as well give that like button a little tickle from me. And if you want to keep seeing this lovely mug all over your feed, hit that subscribe button. Your support goes a long way in helping me keep doing what I love to do. Anyway, watch this. Here we have the Hygge Autumn Cooling Fan. We got this sent out to us by Hygge for one specific reason. Moving this tank is going to change a few things. It's going to change the exposure to the sunlight and it's going to change the temperature due to its height in the room. Now what this does is this is going to take a temperature from the water and it's just going to blow a little fan. So the only oversight that I've seen so far will be the fact that it doesn't go below 20 degrees Celsius, which for me is and isn't a problem because I can get away with using it as a fail-safe. I would like to keep the tank at 16 to 18, so not having the option to bring it down to that is a bit limiting, but I can see past it. Now using the system is fairly simple. You've got an on and off button, you've got your mode which changes between 3 speeds, you've got your light button which I'm not running because, you know, I've got a light, and then you've got your temperature setting. Now to use this, you just hold that button down and then you tap through and then you hold it down again and you're set. So it's fairly easy to use. So I just want to say a big thank you to Hygge for sending this out to us, and let's get back to the video. So here we are doing the final water change on the tank. We're cleaning it up, we're going to top it up, and then we're going to treat the water. I added some aqua essential just to remove any chlorines, and I finally took out the rocks that were weighing down the wood. Next I added my favourite part, the snails. I use these to keep my glass clean, and they also help clean up any decaying plants that could cause me algae issues. I also think their colours accent the leaves really well. So here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for. I pulled her out the bag, she had a little pop of air, and then straight over to say hello to me. She is the most active axolotl I have ever owned, and she is just a treat to be around. With that being said, I want to say thank you if you made it this far in the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up for me, and I'll see you in the next one.